Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency, with your host, Terry Harrington.
Welcome to Dateline Schools. We all know that robotics plays a big role in our everyday lives. But at the St. Clair County Technical Education Center, not only students are learning about robotic technology, they also have the opportunity to compete in a real-world experience involving robots. So on this edition of Dateline Schools, we're going to learn about the first robotics competition and the opportunity our local students have to compete. Joining me on the program will be a couple of instructors from Tech who are involved in this initiative, Dwayne Emig and Bob Timmerman, and you'll also have the chance to meet some of the students involved as well. But before we begin our conversation, let's tune in to this education update.
Thank you, Terry. Two Port Huron Northern High School students will compete this month in the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair held in Los Angeles, California. Their science projects will compete for honors with more than 1,500 students from around the world. Juniors Isan Mita and Nathan Tuma qualified for the national contest by placing in the top 4 at the Flint Regional Science Fair at Kettering University in March. Tuma, who came in second place, received a $1,500 scholarship, while Mita got a $1,000 scholarship for his 4th place finish. This is the 3rd year in a row Mita and Tuma have earned the right to compete at the International Fair. Tuma also came in 1st place this year at the 2011 Michigan Science and Engineering Fair. Make your plans now to participate in the 4th annual Special Olympics golf outing, coming up on Saturday, June 18th at the Golden Hawk Golf Course in Costco Township. The entry fee for the outing includes 18 holes of golf with a cart, driving range time, and the chance to win prizes. Golfers will also receive lunch and dinner. Non-golfers can participate by attending the dinner only, sponsoring a hole, or contributing a monetary gift. All proceeds will go to the Woodland Developmental Center's Special Olympics program. Golfers must register by June 10th. Tech is revving up for its 2nd car show this month. Auto enthusiasts will meet on the RESA campus to show off their muscle cars, restorations, hot rods, tuners, trucks, and rat rods. Participants will be eligible for trophies in a number of categories. Attendees can also participate in a parts swap meet. All proceeds will be used to support Tech students competing in national competitions. This is the 2nd annual car show for Tech. The first one last May was such a success, Tech decided to make it an annual tradition. May is an exciting month for local high school seniors. Nearly 2,000 students will end their public high school careers by graduating this year, and there are several festivities planned to help the class of 2011 celebrate. In addition to mandatory marching practices, plans are being completed for senior proms, all-night parties, and graduation ceremonies. To help make this a safe and happy graduation season, local high schools and law enforcement agencies are taking extra efforts to caution students about drinking and driving. Several schools, including Marysville High School, have even staged simulated auto accidents to encourage students not to become involved in alcohol-related activities.
Parents have to be parents. They have to remember they can't be friends, they have to remain parents. And the most important thing is that children require supervision. Even if they're to the point that they're graduating, they still require supervision. Obviously, the biggest issue that we may deal with would be alcohol consumption or controlled substances. Parents have to make sure they set a clear zero tolerance level with their children or with their children's friends or anybody else if they're going to host a party, and that they will enforce that zero tolerance. They will not allow anybody to the home that has been drinking or allow people to bring alcohol into the home.
Most district commencement ceremonies are set for early June. And finally, the end of the year is fast approaching. The final day for students in most districts this year is June 16th. That's it for this edition of Education Update. I'm Ann Frederick. Terry Harrington and Dateline Schools returns in a moment.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around circles, flap my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up
to play 60!
If your school doesn't have a program, be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. We're learning about robotics and its importance to our everyday lives and how local students have had the opportunity to take their classroom learning and apply it in a real-world competition. And my guests are tech instructors Dwayne Emig and Bob Timmerman. And guys, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
But Bob, tell us what the first robotics competition your students were able to compete is. What's that all about?
Well, it was a very exciting event at both Kettering and Troy Athens High School. That's where we competed at this year. And it takes approximately 6 weeks to build the robot. That's the time frame that you have to make it functional. And the robot had to perform several tasks to score points in the competition. For example, it had to be able to pick up tubes off the ground and place them at different heights or different levels on pegs that were sticking out of the wall.
Now, is this a different type of mission, I guess you could call it, for the robot every year, or they do the same thing year after year?
It's always different. Every year it's different. We have a kickoff, and at that kickoff we learn what the competition is going to be about. And then from that point on, all the schools across the state of Michigan have 6 weeks to put the robot together and make it functional.
Must be a pretty intense 6 weeks.
Very challenging. It's a lot of fun.
They actually have a technical committee that is sponsored by First Robotics. And the technical committee, once again, looks at an annual competition. So they decide what the competition is about, what the robot restrictions are going to be, and they design and build the competition around the arena or the play area.
Now, when you talk about the kids building a robot, is it out of a kit, or, I mean, they manufacture everything to make this thing work?
Well, some of the first-time teams in First Robotics, yes, you can buy, I call it like a demo in a box. You can open it up like a Christmas gift, and pretty much everything that you need for a basic, simple, simplistic robot is in the box. However, a lot of the competitions that you'll see, if you've watched any live footage of the First Robotics competition, there's a lot of much higher level robots that are on the playing field. So for a level entry person or a team getting involved, yes, you can just buy the simple project and then put it together.
Okay, now this is what, the second year Tech had a team?
Yes.
Correct. So what did you do this year? And how did you do your robot last year, and what did you do this year?
Oh, we made progress leaps and bounds, and it wasn't just from. We had a lot of help also. Sure. You know, it's kind of nice at Tech here. We have a lot of different technical areas, of course. So just like Dwayne works in, you know, he teaches the metal machine technology. He backfills a lot of our gearing and machining and everything. A lot of it. So compared to last year, we just had the basic robot, as Dwayne had stated. And then this year, based on the experience from last year, this year we were able to put together a much robust and workable robot that was functional and pretty much did what it needed to do.
Now, Dwayne, I know you're in metal machining. Bob, you do mechatronics. What other programs here at Tech assisted you with this robot and the team?
Go ahead.
Okay, we had energy. Technical services that helped us as well, Mr. Lawrence, and welding, Mr. Holsworth helped us out in some areas doing some welding, and of course Dwayne helped, and we even had Bill Saunders in there a couple of times from information technology. So, and a big help, we can't forget Chad Miller. Chad Miller was very instrumental in pulling all this together. I mean, he did a lot, spent a lot of time with the kids, and he did with the students. I'm sorry, with the students. And he was very instrumental in pulling all this together. So
it really seems like this whole Robotics First program really ties what you're doing in the classroom into some real hands-on, I guess, for use of an overused cliche, but hands-on real-world experience for your students, doesn't it?
Right. I think what makes it so real-world for the students and also for the advisors is the deadlines. You have 6 weeks to design and build a robot from basically scratch if you choose to. In our first year, going back and reflecting upon that, we had great ambitions, probably too high of expectations for ourselves. Some of our designs, we probably look back and go, what were we thinking? It was a possible design, but within the 6 weeks limited time frame, it would have never been successful. So you've got to always keep that in mind. And the students are great because they think outside the box, but they don't really understand the amount of time that it would take to do some of their designs or to make progress in the way that they want to have the robot function.
Now, I know over here at Tech you have both juniors and seniors working together. Did you have some of the first-year guys from last year as seniors this year working on this?
Yes, we did. We had two returning students, Tyler Simos, who's from my program, Mechatronics and Robotics, and we had Alex Fladinsky return. He was Energy Services Technologies, Mr. Lawrence's class.
How much did that experience that they gained last year help with them and also dealing with the new kids this year?
It helped immensely, yeah. They were on top of a lot of the things that they weren't able to look at from last year.
Right. I think there's also a part of a mentorship. You know, a lot of the seniors this year were passing on and contributing to the juniors and telling them you know, what the play scenario was like last year and what to watch out for, and just kind of giving a well-rounded you know, atmosphere and environment of what they could expect at that particular level of competition.
And my guess is that isn't something you can normally in the day-to-day classroom bring down from the seniors to the juniors either, is it?
Not necessarily, especially at this level or this type of competition. This was all done after school hours on the weekends. This isn't something that we would normally do with all of our students during our daytime programs.
Great. And what kind of career opportunities are there for the students in your programs and who are interested in this type of technology that you brought into this competition?
Well, there's a lot of different directions that they could go into. Some of them would be, for example, mechanical engineering, just the mechanics itself of building equipment, machining, as Mr. Emick and his students did quite a bit for us. Electrical work, electrical technician, because you have all the electronics that are on board that have to be wired in. Fluid power technical kind of work as well, technician. Programming, of course, that's a big part of it. And even a process engineer, because you have to be able to coordinate all this stuff. You have to know, you have to begin with the end in mind and understand what you have to obtain at the end. And then once you have that attainable goal, then you can go ahead and start building. And there's a process and a coordination that has to be involved with that, and keeping all the students corralled and the mentors so that everybody's going in the somewhat the same direction.
Right. I think one of the things too is you always have to have a leader. There has to be a leader in any event, any organization. You know, you have a lot of different ideas from the 8 students that were competed in this year's competition. All have their own individual ideas, and you have to have a go-to person to be able to say, okay, we've got 8 ideas on the table, which one are we going to go with? Because if not, we'll sit and argue back and forth over those 8 ideas.
So how did you resolve that and come up with the design that you did for this year?
I think we, once again, we listen to their ideas. I think that's a valuable input, is all the students need to have a thought in their mind. It's not something that we want to tell the students how to do or what to do. We want to let them imagine it and think about it. But then obviously all the decision making ended up back through the advisors, and we said, well, you know, here are the constraints, or here's what I see wrong with your your design. Possibly there's a flaw in it. You may want to rethink this, or let's approach it in a different manner or a different way. So, you know, not necessarily telling them that they're wrong in their approach or their ideas, but just redirecting them so that they have a functional robot at the end.
They're very receptive. They were very receptive to that as well. I mean, I think they had the respect enough for myself and Mr. Emick, Mr. Lawrence, and Mr. Miller to know that we've been in the industry and we can, you know, we don't know everything, but we can see sometimes where there might be a downfall, or like Dwayne was saying, you know, it's not going to work because it's just too much time to take to get to that point.
Sure. So. Now, within the confines of the rules, is there a limit to how much of an input and how much of a hands-on the instructors can have with this?
Not really. And you'll, like I said, if you watched any footage or tape, you'll actually see robots that we spoke about earlier that were just pretty much out of the box, and then there are robots that you would be quite amazed with. It really depends on their sponsorship, your corporate sponsors, the people that you get involved. It's once again looking at the team. How much input do you seek out and search outside of your normal environment? Do you go to knock on doors for business and industry leaders to get on board with this for sponsorship? So it's a culmination of you know, getting the best people on your team.
Great. So what are some of the other partners that were involved with the tech team this year?
Well, go ahead.
Well, like Bob said earlier, it was Chad Miller was a huge one. We also had Bill St. Onge from the KPAC team. He did some of our initial design and construction work as far as the machining takes place for our frame of our robot. So he was gracious enough to help us out there to kind of give us a head start on the actual design or the foundation of our robot.
So, well, that's one of the great things, and that it's a good team effort, and what a great experience for the kids. How did the tech team actually do this year?
Actually, what they did this year is they came in 145th out of 171 teams in the state of Michigan.
So not bad for just getting started.
No, it's not. It was good. It was fun, and the more important thing, and this is what they really present in FIRST Robotics, is it's not really about winning. It's about all the skills involved in listening, you know, because listening is a very difficult thing to do. All cooperation, cohesiveness within the group, and learning and sharing your ideas, as Mr. Emig had stated before. Being able to share your ideas and listen and then try to come to some agreement or some halfway point to try and see how it's going to work out.
If there was one thing that probably held us back this year a little bit from our 6-week design, it was Mother Nature. Mother Nature was not on our side. We had a lot of snow days, ice days. We just, every time we had a scheduled practice, it seemed like, oop, there was a snow day, the students weren't here, or they shouldn't be driving, and it was kind of funny after a while because we were just missing days left and right. Unfortunately, the deadline's the deadline, but when you miss that many hours in a course of 6 weeks, it kind of set us back. So we were scrambling at the end. We wish we would have had that extra time, but it is what it is, and that's the real world.
Yes.
And that was a good thing to show the students too, that because we have these situations, the deadline doesn't move further back. It stays right where it's at. You have to figure out what you need to do to make it happen and still meet that deadline. So it's a really, really good experience for all the students, as well as the mentors.
Sure. Well, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to meet some of the team members from here at Tech. So stay with us.
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles. Everybody bring it in. I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good. And that's the name of the game. My name is LaDainian Tomlinson. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
What gets you moving?
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you fuel your body
and your mind.
Whether you like to throw around the football,
play frisbee in the park,
or dance in your room.
Moving every day helps give you a healthy body and mind.
And that makes you part of a winning team. Hey, that was my line. Get up and play an hour a day, Doc.
Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
That's www.letsmove.gov.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. On this segment, we get to meet some of the students who participated in the FIRST Robotics competition, and the team here is sponsored by St. Clair County Tech. And joining me, both of them from Marine City High School, is Blake Malik and also Dave Calamita. And Dave, tell us a little bit about what your role was as part of the FIRST Robotics team here at Tech.
My role part of the FIRST Robotics team was to any part that they needed, any specific specialized part for like the claw or anything, I had to machine. Or Blake did, or one of our team members.
Mm-hmm. Now, Blake, did you have to help design these parts and all of that too, or did you just create them?
We all kind of brainstormed and helped engineer them. Our teacher did a lot of it, but we did some good engineering behind it.
Okay. Now, with this robotics piece that you guys did, is there quite a few different pieces that you had to make, or is it just a few that you have to help put together?
More or less make them and then put them together.
There's a lot, because it's just coming up from with nothing, building something from the ground up to do some specialized task. So there's a lot of specific machining that needs to be done, specialized parts.
Okay. Describe that whole process for us, because most of us don't understand what all goes into machining a part anyway. So describe that for us if you can.
Well, first of all, you gotta get a blueprint of your part that you need to machine, and then find your piece of stock that you're going to use, or figure out what material you're going to use. and you gotta start square it up or whatever needs to be done, then start hogging it out.
Okay. What kind of material were you guys using for this?
We used actually some specialized plastics for the sliding arm. We used some aluminum. I don't think we really used any steel. It was mainly because we wanted this to be as light as possible.
Okay. Now, when you said you're using plastic, usually you think of plastic as something extruded, but this is something that you really cut, carved, and did that
We used a mill to cut it and shape it and cut it out.
How precise did the parts have to be for this?
They had to be real precise. There can't be any slop in it, or the arm might not work or slide right.
Okay. Now, what did the robot need to do as part of the competition?
It had to actually take these inner tubes, pick them up from the floor, turn, I believe, a whole 90 degrees, and then put them on a wall.
Great. Now, were you involved, too, as part of the programming to make sure they work properly and do that kind of stuff?
No, we more or less just made sure the mechanisms work and the mechanical part of it.
Oh, okay. How much time was involved for your role in this?
We didn't have much time at all because the robot had to be built and completed in 6 weeks, so we had deadlines real quick.
Okay, so I imagine that put a little stress on you guys, not just creating a good part, but to do that too, right?
Make sure it was going to work and make sure it was completed right.
Mm-hmm. How important was the teamwork? For not only for the whole team, but specifically for what you guys were needed to do.
It was pretty important because sometimes this one person couldn't continue a part. Another person might have to leave off, so they'd have to have an active role and know what's going on and what needs to be done and what is done.
Mm-hmm. Were the parts that you created, were you able to do it in one take, or did you have to do 2 or 3 different ones to get one to work right?
Depends on how big and how intricate the part had to be. Because if the part's more intricate, it's going to obviously take more time. But if it was a little simple part, we could get it done in 10 minutes, whatever.
What made you guys want to be part of this program?
Well, I love making whatever I can.
Yeah, me too. And then I think our parents probably played a big role in it. Both our parents are in the industry.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's cool then. Nothing like following your mom and dad's footsteps, right?
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the future?
Go on to college and then hopefully open our own shop one day.
Really? Okay. So you see a real future in this area, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Dave? Same thing?
Yeah, pretty much. We've been having ideas of creating our own shop, starting it up.
Mm-hmm. Is there a particular area you'd like to focus in, like biomedicine type of thing, or automotive, or just whatever you can have business you can get into?
Whatever's
available.
Mm-hmm. But you see a bright future in this area?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. If one of your fellow students came up to you and said, Dave, Blake, why should I get involved with First Robotics competition, which is actually an added thing to your classwork anyway, what would you tell them?
It helps kind of with industry because you have to you actually get deadlines, you actually get blueprints, it's just a little break from the classwork, kind of more real world kind of application.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine too it'll be something good to look on your resume as you're starting to build that and to build your career.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good experience.
Good. Would you do it again if you had a chance, if you weren't seniors?
Yeah.
Definitely good. So, well guys, thanks for joining us, and we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to meet another student who was involved with the Tech's First Robotics team, and this person was actually at the competition and working in the pits. We're going to learn all about that, so don't go away.
We'll get you moving.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have more energy to do the things you like to do.
And that's a slam dunk.
Whether you like to shoot hoops,
Kick the soccer ball around.
or ride your bike
moving every day puts you on the offense.
towards a stronger you.
So be a player.
Move it your way and be a player.
Get up, play, and move it your way.
Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
That's www.letsmove.gov.
Welcome home, man.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. In our final segment, we're going to continue talking to students who participated from the St. Clair County Technical Education Center in the first robotics competition this spring. And joining me now from K-Pac High School is Tassie McClive, who was one of the students who had the privilege of going with the team to the competitions this spring. And Tassie, what were some of the different roles that you had to fill with this first robotics team here at Tech?
I got to drill some of the holes for some of the parts that we needed, and I helped clean up the pits a little bit and organize them. Got people the tools that they needed and just helped out a little bit with whatever anyone needed.
Well, I guess that's a pretty important role on a team, though.
Yes, definitely.
Now, where were the competitions that you participated in?
One was at Kettering in Flint, and another one was at Troy High School in Troy.
Okay, so you talk about the pits. Now, we think of the pits like being in NASCAR or Indy racing and that kind of stuff. I think it's a little bit different than that, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. It's more closed off. It's everyone has all of their pits right next to each other. If you need any help, you can ask anyone for some equipment, or, you know, it's just a small area just with your tools and the equipment you need.
How intense is the competition?
It's not intense. It's just, it's a little nerve-wracking, but not intense, because everyone is helping everyone out, and it's not a stressful environment like some wrestling matches or sports where everyone's kind of at each other's throats.
Now, you talked about you had to drill things and build things and do all that. Do you have to do that on the competition? Was that stuff you did prior to the competitions?
If it was needed, you had to do it at competitions too. So, yeah, you had to have those tools ready if you needed them.
So you had your big mechanics box there and the whole bit, right?
Yeah.
So just describe a little bit of the competition and what it was like for you, from the time you started till the time you ended the day.
It was kind of like in the morning, we all met somewhere, got everything ready, put it in the car, got the robot, everything that we needed, tools, whatever, packed everything up, headed to the competitions, unpacked, got everything ready, got some of the judges or instructors or whoever was there to help with unloading everything and talk to them about what we needed to do. And then we would set up, work on the robot as little as we needed or as much as we needed, and got everything ready for the first match.
Now, were your instructors able to help you once the competition started, or were you kids pretty much on your own?
They could help us.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it was a lot of help from them, so yeah.
Now, how many matches did you guys have to compete in?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it was about 30 matches, somewhere around there. There was like 70 to 80 matches a day and about 30 people there, so our team, 30 different teams to 40 different teams.
So obviously you had a lot of adjustments to do between matches, but not a whole lot of time, I'd be my guess.
Not a whole lot of time at all. Sometimes the matches were right on top of each other. If the robot got broken in any way, you had to fix it right then and there and get it out of the way, get it working again, and then right back on the field.
So how did your robot fare?
Fairly well. I'm going to have to say, like, we didn't have the mini-bot ready as soon as we needed it to be ready, but we got it fixed and got it ready for the last match.
Okay, so I imagine that created a little bit of stress for you guys.
Just a little bit. The mini-bot was about 30 points. You know, no stress.
Yeah, there you go. Now, how important is teamwork in this whole thing to make this whole thing work?
It was definitely very important to have teamwork. Everyone needed to work together. Everyone needed to have everything working, and it was it's kind of stressful, but when at the end of the day, it's all worth it.
Good. Now, is this a field that you're hoping to pursue once you finish your high school career and also your career at the Technical Education Center?
Yes, actually. Do you want me to? I'm planning on going into mechanical engineering and maybe working for NASA someday.
Oh, great. Well, we want to thank you for joining us on Dateline Schools, and congratulations for working hard on the Tech First Robotics team, and we wish you all the best.
All right, thank you.
And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Dateline Schools. Hope to see you soon.